I've been posting recently comments and perspectives that are blatantly personal, political, and religious. And they're doing this not to be controversial and not to depart from the purpose of this channel, which is to communicate my experience with tropical fish, but to clarify precisely where my thoughts and my heart and my experience derive from, and what I perceive to be the most important things that can be done to maintain healthy, dynamic, beautiful, natural aquariums. First of all, let's look at the religious component. All of us act in the world based on our beliefs, based on our understanding about the nature of reality. Whatever we perceive that reality to be is how we communicate, is what we do, and results in whatever consequences there are from our actions. So how we view the world, how we experience life, nature, reality, has everything to do with how we act, what we do, and what we expect. I have sought throughout my life to ground myself as deeply and as firmly as I can in the notion that the universe is good, that its fundamental principle is love, that it is not only creative, but it is wholesome and healthy and kind and, dare I say, gentle. There are many things we can think of in nature that are not gentle, but for the sake of our conversation here, I want to use that term because it very much expresses what I experience and what I'm getting at in the whole business of creating a living aquarium. It is something that occurs spontaneously. Now, I think it was interesting. I studied Amano for years, a real disciple of his, because he had a remarkable ability to display nature. And the more he did this, the older he became, and the more mature in his art, the more he realized that far from spending hours determining precisely where to place a rock, he began simply throwing them into the tank, simply dumping them, and discovered that natural placement had far more legitimacy and authority aesthetically and naturally than did his attempts to create a perfect, harmonious picture, as if to say, what nature does is far more endearing and far more delightful than anything we can do to nature. Sadly, Amano died before his art became fully developed. Now, we can argue that his art was fully developed, and it certainly was up to the point of his death, but there was so much more he had to do, and we have lost that. So we pick up where he left off. And that's very much what I'm about here, picking up where Amano left off. Discovering that going out into my backyard, into a local pond or ditch or a creek, with a jar and filling the jar with some mud and dirt and water and bringing it in and setting it on the window ledge and observing it for a month. I call this a resurrection jar because what comes out of it, what comes into it perhaps, are forms of life that are stunning and startling. We see first little worms. We see next tiny bugs swimming around, perhaps some plants beginning to grow. A whole atmosphere of life begins to take over this little jar. And it becomes something dynamic, something alive, something throbbing, pulsing with life. Now, translate that to your aquarium, and you begin to understand what I'm getting at. An aquarium is a living thing, a living environment. The dirt is alive, the water is alive, the plants, the fish, everything about it is alive. It's alive. And we don't need to do anything to it. We honestly don't. And in point of fact, the more we do to it, the more, frankly, we kill it. The more we restrict and confine it from being what it wants to be. Now, this is not some romantic notion of let it be, let it be. It's not that at all. It is a belief in and an understanding that life emerges in any environment that is conducive to it. If we create an environment that's conducive to life and then sit back and watch life emerge, we can add to that. We can add fish, we can add plants, we can add a substrate, we can add water. We can add to that. What we don't want to do is take from it. We don't want to be dumping toxins in it. Oh my God, look, he's sick. He's got a fungus on him. We need to dump chemicals in there. No, 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 no. No, no, no. If your fish has fungus on him, he perhaps has an injury that has become infected. You can take him out and put him in clean water, and that will invariably clean it up. You can stop overfeeding your tank and creating an excess of bacteria beyond the ability of the system to sustain itself healthfully. You can overdo it. And far too many people do. The worst thing anyone can do to a fish tank is put too much food in it. And that is the most common error, the most common cause of sickness, disease, foul water. Too much food, too much nutrition. The system provides nutrition. That's what it does. Now, see, here's the thing. Believing that a biological system is capable of supporting itself requires a belief in the nature of reality, that nature itself is capable of that is its nature, to support every aspect of its being, support every animal, every plant, every life form, to create a web of life in which everything thrives, in which everything is supported and everything is nurtured. That happens automatically. That happens because it is the nature of reality. And how is it the nature of reality? It is the nature of what has been created. And what has been created is the expression of a loving creator. How can you have a creation without a creator? How can you have existence without some progenitor, some initiation of that existence? We must, I believe, understand that initial spark was born in love, born in harmony, born as an act of balance and as an act of joy, as a celebration of the very life that it brought about. Okay, so that's in part my religious underpinning, but what about politics? What about the political aspect of this hobby? I believe it is utterly profound. And a significant part of what we're facing right now with this Lacey Act that threatens to utterly destroy, threatens, I said, to utterly destroy millions of hobbyists' passion. That's born by those who want to determine precisely what our relationship with the natural world ought to be. Those who want to put government between us and the natural world. Now, I'll grant you, we do not want to permit the destruction of the natural world. But we also must permit the easy and open access of the human spirit to its foundation. We are not founded in government. We are founded in creation. We are founded in the natural world. The natural world is our home, not government. And when government gets in between us and what we are born in, what we love and cherish, what we care most deeply about, then government becomes our enemy. And it ought never be our enemy. And so government must get out of the business of telling us how we are to breathe and what we are to cherish and how we are to act in our relationship to the natural world. It's fine and well and good to control destruction. But when that comes down to telling a child they cannot move a rock in a creek to see what's under it, that's abominable. That is fundamentally evil. That is government intruding upon what God has given us to cherish and to care for. So there you have it. There's a quick 5 or a 10-minute introduction, if you will, to why I believe religion and politics need to be a part of this conversation, because they impact us very deeply and very directly. And they impact what we're doing, they impact our hobby. They have everything to do with it. So, appreciate your comments. I know there are those who will disagree, and I cherish the opportunity to communicate and share, especially if you are in disagreement. Come over to Discord, our Discord channel. The link is posted below. I'm there, others are there. There are those there who do not agree, and that's fine, because it gives us the opportunity for conversation, for sharing, and for struggling to understand. Please, if you will, join this channel. Not for the sake of supporting it, but for the sake of continuing the conversation, being part of what we're trying to do here. Whether in agreement or disagreement. Well, I am open to your disagreement. I will listen to you. I will talk with you. I will do my best to share my beliefs. And I will do my level best to understand yours. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all you've done to support this channel. Bye for now.